All right, BlakBoxxRadio. Listen, it's a crisp night. I'm in the Be More Studios. I am like, the word for the day is gratitude. Just gratitude to be in Baltimore. It's crispy. It's crispy outside still. It's not hot, but it's a nice, beautiful day. And we're in the Men in BLaK series, guys. I don't know if you know about this series, but let me tell you something. This is a series of just platforming Black men, and I am just so excited for it. The Men in BLaK series, 8 Black men, 8 Black stories. So I need you guys to tap in, check on our YouTube channel, check out the prior interviews we've had in the series. This is our seventh, and we're gonna get to him, but we've had 6 others. So that means we got some content on YouTube joint. Check out our website. Make sure you like, share, subscribe all of our content. So get on that YouTube, like, share, subscribe, and then leave a comment. So come through for us, please. We're trying to build this channel and of grassroots Black content. I'm Queen. I'm a host at BlakBoxxRadio. We are a multimedia platform illustrating Black excellence. We platform Black people. We expose Black genius, but we also disseminate information from our community and also to other communities. We are an authentic space for the Black face. That's what we do 6 to 8 times a month. Check us out. I'm telling you, we're popping. YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe, check out our content. So guess what, guys? We are in the Men in BLaK series. And I don't know if you know, every February we do a series for 6 to 8 people. And we usually do Be More Black. So that's the most amazing people in Baltimore. But this year we decided to do Men in BLaK. So it's all men. And we got 8 Black men. I mean, that ain't easy to get together. 8 Black men. And so doing all different things and being extraordinary in their space. So we have another 7 to 8, 7 of 8. So we've had 6. This is our 7th. We have Brother Jamaal Collier, Black Root. Say what's up to the people.
What's up, people? What's going on? How y'all feeling?
Yeah. Love that smile. Love that smile. Listen, tell us a little bit about Jamaal. It was integral for us to have a artist with the guys. You always need art. Art is oxygen. And so, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So it was so important to have you. And so it's a full-time artist. So that's what's so dope about it. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and a little bit of what you do. Then we're going to jump in.
Okay. Well, I was born in Washington, D.C. in Columbia Women's Center, which is one of the same places where Duke Ellington was born. We weren't born at the same time, though, clearly. But yeah. So I was raised in multiple places. Fort Totten, D.C., Bellcrest, Maryland, New Carrollton, Maryland. I had family in Brooklyn, so I stayed there for summers and holidays in the Bed-Stuy area in the Williamsburg projects. And then I went to Eleanor Roosevelt High School in Greenbelt. Then I applied to Morehouse, but I could not afford what they were providing after the scholarship. And going to Towson. Ended up being the Black Student Union president there. I ended up being community service for the CSA, which is the Caribbean Student Association. I ended up being an active member in LASO, which is the Latin American Student Organization. My mother was born in Puerto Limon, Costa Rica.
Wow.
I guess when you say in college, you say somebody.
Say that again. It just flowed off your lips. Say it again.
Puerto Limon, Costa Rica.
Oh,
so
wow.
You would say, technically, when people are really good playing sports, they're considered All-American. But technically, I'm an All-American. One of my basketball friends call me Jamaal American because I was born in North America. My mother's from Central America and my father's from South America. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's a nice little known fact. A lot of people don't know that. So.
That's a suit right there. Wow, that's what it makes. I'm telling you, we so much texture there. Wow.
Yeah,
so you had a very interesting household, I'm sure.
It was beautiful. I always knew when it was time to clean on the weekends because I would hear Caribbean music on Sundays. I would hear Latin music and R&B on Saturdays. And my mother had one of those dope component systems with the JVC, you know what I'm saying, the radio component system with the Pioneer speakers. You know, the 5 6 foot Jones, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, and then we had we had the nice floor model Zenith television that had
Okay.
better sound quality than some cars at that time.
Oh,
So
so just, y'all was doing it. Y'all had a little, you had a lot of entertainment in your house. So that's what's
yeah,
up.
and we had more education and entertainment. So my mother crafted a library in my room,
Oh,
and it
wow.
had about 8 shelves. So it had anything from the little highlights, zoo books, The Mouse and the Motorcycle by Beverly Cleary to The Wretched of the Earth by Frantz Fanon. We didn't have the
Wow.
Encyclopedia Britannica, but we had the what was it called? The World Encyclopedia, which is kind of like the Great Value Encyclopedia Britannica. You feel me?
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so
Yeah,
I did a
the
lot of reading.
value.
Yeah,
I
I
love
had.
what you said, the value edition of the
Oh yeah,
Britannica.
great. Yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I'm
Yeah,
laughing.
it's like them that shipping and handling wasn't right, so we got something else.
I hear that. I hear that. So, being a full time artist, I really want to talk about that. Yeah, like being an artist and your family and your life and still following your passion. How is art presented in your life? That's how did it come about to this became such a passion that you have to do it every day?
Mm. Huh. That's a good question.
When did
I
you know?
honestly, I became a student of hip hop in 2001. I had a roommate, and he played "African Dream" by Talib Kweli on the Reflection Eternal album. And when Talib said these cats drink champagne and toast death and pain like slaves on a ship, talking about who got the flyest chain, something in me just kind of changed. And prior to that, seeds were planted, right? So I was a huge fan of Outkast.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a big fan when Southern Playalistic came out, but when AT Aliens came out, I just absorbed everything. And then I went back to Southern Playalistic and realized how dope that was. And then
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I've seen them like 3-4 times. I've seen
Wow.
the Roots. I've seen the Roots more than any other live ticketed situation that I've ever done. I remember
Mm.
seeing, yeah, I've seen them. I haven't seen them in Philly, but I've seen them in DC. I've seen them in Maryland. I've seen them in Virginia. I've seen them so
Wow.
many. I've seen them there multiple times.
Wow.
Um, yeah, yeah. But I would say I had an 11th grade teacher. I cannot remember her name, but she said I had, what do people say? Well, people used to say swag a lot back in the like late 2000s.
Okay.
And she said I had panache. So that wasn't a term that you heard too often. She said,
Mm.
you got panache and charisma. She said, you should take a theater class. And I took a theater class for the first time. And in my brain, I didn't understand. I watched people on TV and I watched films and I loved movies, but I didn't realize that it didn't hit me that that was a profession. That was something that could be
Yeah.
accessible to me, right? So
Wow.
I auditioned. I took drama in my senior year in high school, and I ended up landing a leading role. I was Malcolm in Macbeth in high school,
Mm.
and yeah, and it was my first year off. So I guess I really, well, I know what I did. I really tore it up, right? But
Yeah.
there was just a really good feeling of locking in when
Mm.
I was doing theater, and I continued to, and that's what led me to Towson University because they had one of the best theater arts programs in the Mid Atlantic at the time, but they weren't accredited yet, but they still were
Mm.
rolling. And I went there and did a main stage play, and it was a main stage black play. It was called The
Mm.
Trial of the Kamathi, which dealt with the Kenyan land and freedom armies. And the last time there was I'm sorry, and the playwright was Ngozi Wawationgo. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And he was literally exiled from his country, and he
Mm.
wrote a stage play for the trial of Dedan Kamathi, and he came to the play. I've had
Wow.
the they've had the pleasure of working with Ross Cawthon. She was our musical director. She got her MFA while she was being the director of the Kumba Players, which later became the Kumba Collective. And
Mm.
she's now the director of the BSA, Baltimore School of the Arts. Um, Amazing young lady and dear friend. Yeah, but she was our North Star of sorts when we were doing theater. And
Mm.
um, yeah, yeah. So I did a documentary called "Slavery and the Making of America" that was narrated by Morgan Freeman. That was pretty cool. I did that for PBS/WETA in the early 2000s, and yeah, yeah. So I've moved and shaked a little bit. I think what I didn't like though was that I saw me getting typecasted to do a lot of enslaved African roles. Uh,
Mm,
and I started turning them down. So, but
okay.
it was coming heavy though. It was coming heavy for about a year or two, and then I turned them.
Really?
Yeah, when I turned them down enough, they just stopped calling. So I think I don't necessarily regret it because I don't know where that would have led me. Um, but I was always connected to art. So I played the saxophone for like probably about 7 years. Played
Oh
the
wow.
alto, played the alto and the baritone. I can play the djembe, but I am by no means a djembe player because I know way too many amazing drummers. You had my big brother Changa on here not too long ago.
Yeah,
That
that brother.
Yeah, he played the drums. He does a lot of things really well.
A
So
lot, yeah, a lot of things really well. That's true.
yeah.
Wow. So you got introduced very early, and you said your house was a music house. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So you had, and then a different culture. So you got to art became something that was important very early. So
Oh,
how did you just say, listen, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to
well,
be.
well, the funny thing is, when I heard that Talib Kweli song, I wasn't sold on being a musician
Mm,
or a songwriter. I wanted to be an actor. That was where my love was. My love was and my
okay.
passion for theater and film. And I loved hip hop, and I became a student of hip hop. So I paid attention to it, and I realized that hip hop was more than just rap. A lot of times when people talk about hip
Yep.
hop, they're talking about rap music, which is a part of the culture. But the rap is the genre. The hip hop is
Mm,
the culture that's comprised of
okay.
originally the five pillars, but it has breakdancing, graffiti or breaking, graffiti art, DJing, of course the knowledge, rapping, and I'm leaving something out. I got to use my fingers. So DJing, graffiti art, rapping, breaking, knowledge. So those are the five pillars. But of course, beatboxing is an element, street culture is an element, street knowledge is an element. Flash and
Mm,
flare, all those things tie into it. But those are the original five. And then if you go even deeper than that, when you think about what hip hop really did, I don't know if you're familiar with Black Benji. Um,
Black Benji. No.
yeah, I don't want to, mess up the accuracy of that story too much, but he was somebody that was murdered as a result of gang violence, and
Mm,
there was a truce that was initiated because of him, and that was at the beginning of the whole movement in hip hop. And then when you think about Africa Bam and the Black Spades and him going
mm,
over to South Africa and getting his name Africa Bambaataa, which meant affectionate leader, but which it still means that. Um, and then, of course, DJ Kool Herc, who came from Jamaica with his family, threw the birthday party for his sister, Cedric and Cedar. Like all of those things are components. So I just really and I'm still a student of the culture. There's a lot of things I still don't know, a lot of things I'm still learning. But
mm.
I love to share what I do know to, to people in my community.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And so it hit you, and you said full time.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. So it took a while
that
though.
ain't easy, bro. That's not easy. That's hard. That's
Yeah.
hard. What's the five pillars again? Breaking. Give me those pillars again. There's breaking,
Okay. Well, matter of fact,
DJing.
hold on. I'll do a rap real quick. So
Let's do
um,
it.
So I'll say breakdancing shows off your dance moves. You might be in the street with some fresh tennis shoes. DJing takes a lot of skills. You get to play music and pay your bills. Graffiti is an art that you spray on the wall. You might have even seen it in the bathroom stall. Ew. Rapping uses rhyming words to tell stories. You boogie with the beat, then you flow for the glory. The most important property is knowledge. Then you apply that wisdom in and out of college. So those are elements of hip hop culture. So those are the five.
Wow. Okay. Gotcha. 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 Man. So you got to
But yeah,
rap for everything.
you said what
Hmm?
now?
You got to rap for everything. So we're gonna have you hit it up. I
Oh
like that.
man, not for everything, but I could say some things from time to time. But yeah, I kind of got away from the path when you asked me. So initially, I had a passion for the knowledge of hip hop, but when I started freestyling seriously and writing rhymes, my goal literally was to create 3 songs that I could
Mm,
play for my future children and that I could play for my grandparents, and they would both like it. That was literally all I wanted to do. My goal was to make 3 songs. And then I was dating somebody at the time. I guess you could say she was my college sweetheart. We dated for maybe 2 years and some change.
mm,
And um, I remember we did an assessment of each other, and she had said, "I noticed you're doing this rapping thing, but it's not one of your goals." And then I told her, I was like, but it is. And it really wasn't. But I really enjoyed it. So I was like, yo, I do this. Like, I love to do this. And then I
Mm-hmm.
met this gentleman in theater. His name was Rasan Eldridge, one of my best friends. And uh, he was writing in his composition book during our downtime of rehearsal for a really amazing play we did. It was a series of sketches called, I think it was called The Box. And we had like 3 or 4 short plays in it, I believe. And it was a very powerful play. Not to get too much into it, but when he was writing, he was being, I could tell he's being somewhat secretive. But sometimes writers will look at each other and I was like, okay, he's writing. So I walked over to him. I was like, hey man, what you doing over there? And he said, I'm writing. And he looked at me with a real like leave me alone face, but that didn't intimidate me at all. And I was like, oh, you writing? You a rapper? You a singer? What you doing? And he was like, I rap. And I said, all right, cool. Spit something. So then he spit something from the book, and I was like, oh, okay. So then I spit something from my mind, and then I
Mm-hmm.
remembered. And then he said, oh, okay. So then he read something, and then I spit something else. And yeah, we just kept sharpening each other's iron after that. And we
Mm-hmm.
released projects, and we became Word Slave and Black Root presents Axiom. And Axiom is a universally recognized truth. So that was the name I came up with. I literally saw in the Suzu Axiom, and I looked up the definition of the word axiom. And when I got that, I was like, that's what we're doing. So then I started writing with him, and I started to really believe that some of these things could be viable. While I was writing with him, one of my friends had stopped working at where was it? What was it? The Maryland Historical Society. He was a one-man show talking about the history of Jacob Butler. Jacob Butler was a fictional Black man who was free and born in the 1800s, right before the Civil War. So he was in his 20s because my friend Brett, ironically, his last name is Collier, but we're not related by blood.
Okay.
Brett Collier, he's out of Philly, dope gentleman. He's actually in California now with his family, I believe. But
Mm-hmm.
so he was a good friend of mine in the theater department. There weren't too many of us that looked my color in the theater department, so we stuck together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Especially with the Kumba Collective. So that was our home base of sorts. You know. So shout out to Rondi Vick, Vincent Horn, uh, Rosalind Cawthon, of course, Tamika Gray, O'Shane Asugo, Richard Moore, Jana Smalls. So many people. I don't want to leave anybody out, but Nathan, Styles, Jessica Hutchison. She went by third ISIS in the city. She was amazing. Like a phenomenal writer, arranger, creative. Period. All those people I mentioned are phenomenal writers and creators. But I met them in the early stages of my development. Uh, and then just shout out to the whole poetry scene and community. I came on the scene in the mid 2000s, probably like maybe like 2000. I think my first
As
open
a
mic,
poet.
yeah, as a poet. But I was a rapper, but I had the rapping scenes. It just seemed like when I went to rapping scenes, there were other rappers. You know what I mean? Which is fine,
Yeah.
but the audience
Mm-hmm.
was also full of rappers. They weren't full of
Mm-hmm.
so the poetry scene had patrons, but I went to both. You know what I mean? So I have love and appreciation and respect for both. So definitely shout out to Shaka Pitts, um,
Brother Shaka.
yeah, Victor Rogers, because they had he went by Spitz McMahon back then, and it was crazy because I hadn't met him yet, but I heard of him. And the moment I showed up to like mic fights or something, he was like, "Oh, Blackwood, I know who you are," and I was just like, "But how though?" You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
He said,
dope.
but how? No,
Yeah.
so you that's right. So we got every little art that you said you gotta spit a little poem. Hit us up with something.
Little something. Okay.
Yeah, a little something. Yeah, hit us
That
up.
oh, okay. Well, it's February, so I'll do something that I'll do whether it's February or not. This is called Raise Your Voice. Tommy Smith, John Carlos, get your fist up. Fleetwood Robinson, we made you. Batter up. Jim Brown getting down, breaking through the barriers, and if you don't raise your voice, they ain't hearing you. Bill Russell changed the face of the game. Ali said no when they said boo my yay. Wilma Rudolph and Jesse Owens overcoming hurdles. If you ain't raised your voice, they ain't heard you. If you ain't raised your voice, they ain't heard you. If you ain't raised your voice, they ain't heard you. Warriors stand up. We make words within our actions, but athletic activism are more than enough stamina to remain civil and well within our rights. We take our unrest, form it into a ball and knock it out the park beyond our sight. We alley-oop slam dunk it. We put our prejudice opposition in the ring and then knock out punch it, then arrive at the victory function. Dress well with our throwback Zulu tribesman jerseys and Tuskegee Air Jordans. Is it the shoes? Because we be way too fly for them vultures amongst them who fail to realize we deserve for our voice to be heard. If you can observe and hear these words, you deserve for your voice to be heard. But instead of talking, these athletes will eloquently articulate their Stanley Cup, Super Bowl, World Series, green jacket, gold medal mentality to keep the U.S. open without ever needing the use of a word. With that being said, can you hear me yet? Tommy Smith, John Carlos, get your fist up. Fleetwood Robinson, we made you. Better up. Jim Brown getting down, breaking through the barriers, and if you don't raise your voice, they ain't hearing you. Bill Russell changed the face of the game. Ali said no when they said boo my yay. Wilma Rudolph and Jesse Owens overcoming hurdles. If you ain't raised your voice, they ain't heard you. If you ain't raised your voice, they ain't heard you. If you ain't raised your voice, they ain't
Hurt you.
Yes, indeed.
That's what's up.
So that's a little bit.
Wow.
A longer piece than that, but that's a little snippet. So,
And what's the name of that?
Raise Your Voice.
Raise your voice. Love that. Okay, I love that. Every little thing we talk about, you can drop something. This is
I see this is where you want to navigate this. So,
yeah, I really like that. So, all right. So, artists, man. So, in the community, you can be hired. So, do you have like tell the people like your information for what you do, like your Griot, all the things that you do. So, kind of put yourself on a pedestal a little. Tell the people what you do, and you could be hired. You are an artist.
Yeah, well, I'm a songwriter. You can definitely follow me on all the social medias. Jamaal Collier on Facebook, BlakRoot1, the number 1, because there is no other, on Instagram. You can also check me out with my homegirl, Jay Pope. She's an amazing, amazing songwriter, vocalist, and MC. On that's Mind State Mix. That's on Instagram as well. Yeah, and then you could also just get in contact with me, blackroot01@gmail.com, and shoot me an email that way so you could see what's going on with the bookings and what you may be interested in, because I host, I rap, I songwrite. I actually wrote a song for Andres Salguero, who has an album called Activate, which came out and was released in 2020. I wrote 2 songs for him. He put one of them on the album, and that album was nominated for a Grammy that year with the Recording Academy. So that was pretty cool. So Grammy nominated through songwriting. You know what I mean? So that works.
That works.
Yeah. So I'll take that. So yesterday's price isn't today's price after that happened.
I believe that.
Yeah, I won a couple of poetry slams, and one of the poetry slams I won. This is like one of my favorite things to share. But I haven't done it in a while. But yeah, it was a poetry slam that was judged by the Last Poets, Sekou Sundiata and Sam Greenlee. And the Last Poets, I believe, they're the only ones that are still with us in the physical. So when I saw Sam Greenlee, for those who don't know who Sam Greenlee is, he wrote The Spook Who Sat by the Door. He was one of the first Black men who got into the CIA and studied the CIA and then came out and implemented some of their practices with some of the Black Power activist organizations in that time. Brilliant man. I got the book and I got the DVD. It's actually pretty dope. So Sekou Sundiata, amazing activist, writer. So yeah, so a lot of dope things in that regard. So yeah, I won that slam, and then Umar Hassan came to me and was like, "Keep the root strong, brother." And I was like, "Oh, that's crazy." And then Abi Odun volunteered. He offered me and a couple of friends who were there to come back to his place in New York. They played basketball and would have drinks and food every Sunday. And I was like, "Yo, that's crazy." So
that's dope.
Definitely followed up on that. That was amazing. But
that was amazing, I'm sure. So as an entertainer, you meet interesting people. So that's real interesting. So I'm sure you have stories and stories and stories about the things you're doing in community.
Yeah, I love it, man. Honestly, some of my favorite stories, they involve children. I work with children in different schools. Like, since I've been doing this, I've been in over probably like 400 to 500 schools at this point. Throughout Maryland, Connecticut. My child was taking me to Panama. I've been to Costa Rica. been in schools. So yeah, I also I have a duo with a friend of mine by the name of Max Bent, and that's the Beatbox Dads. Oh, I left that out. www.beatboxdads.com. That's an easy place to find me too.
So you,
Yeah.
so oh, next we moving on. I love it. Next art. All
Yeah.
right, so
Well, I'm gonna have to direct you to that because right here it's not gonna sound as crispy because I don't have the
so
right
you
sound. So
okay, so you beatbox too. Wow.
I do. Yeah. So yeah, I do
Okay.
that. Actually, I toured with Step Africa for a few months. Unfortunately, it was right before COVID. So
Okay.
we started a really amazing tour. Actually, they just performed at the Warner Theater last night, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, shout out to them and C. Brian Williams, just amazing founder and person who's in the community active.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to my man Chris Styles Bacon because I know he'd be beatboxing with them. Because I went on tour with them while I was beatboxing, so that was pretty dope.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
dope. So they have a beatboxer on staff. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so I'm keeping count. MC, which is a
Oh,
host, all that
host.
together.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, MC, but I also host. But yeah, but I tell when I talk to children about MCing, I break it down like this. I say, because I love when Rakim, master of ceremony, move the crowd, because that acronym has a whole bunch of really cool
yeah.
connections to it. But I'll say, all right, has anybody ever been to a wedding? And most people will raise their hands. And I'll say, okay, so when the maid of honor or the best man gives a toast and he raises his glasses, what is he doing? And, oh, he's giving a toast. And I said, well, in Jamaica, the people who would talk on the mic were called toasters, right? So,
Okay.
and the DJs were the toasters. They might have been the people rapping, right? But the person who was the
Wow.
DJ, as you know it, was considered the selector because they would select the music that you would play, right?
Got it.
The DJ is a disc jockey, and what does a jockey do? A jockey rides, right? So if a jockey rides the beat, that would be the rapper, but they didn't call him a rapper. You know what I'm saying? So when you're
Yeah.
giving the toast, you're considered the master of ceremony at that time because everybody's paying attention to you, right? So that's kind of how I flip it to explain it to the students and adults who don't know. So because everybody, I never assume that people know what I know. So and I don't judge when they don't. It's because I think that's important. So
That's important. Yeah, that is important. So we have hosts, we have MC,
mm-hmm.
we
Yeah,
have poet,
mm-hmm.
we have a poet, and we got to move on to Griot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that's very important in our communities to tell our stories, is to pass our information amongst stories, to venerate our ancestors throughout the story. So tell us a little bit about being a griot.
All right. So a part of that is, like you said, sharing the stories, right? Because if somebody who is an elder passes away with the griot capability, uh, that's considered like the death of a library. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So it's very important. I think that as an artist, we're more griots than we realize we are. I think that an artist's job is to talk about what was, what is, and what they want to see or where they think we're going. Like all those things are important, or where they think we should go. I think that that's a capture, right? So that
Mhm.
capturing is something that I could do with words. It's something I could do with movement. It's something I could do with creation of solid sculptures or
Mhm.
impermanent sculptures. And it's something I could definitely do with something you see visually or what you capture visually as like a photographer or, um, you know, I guess a photographer would be good, like or some other type of visual creative. I don't want to limit
Mhm.
any artist or art form, but
Yep. Content creator.
yeah, but those are definitely things that stick out to me. You know, what we're doing right here, um, you're capturing a moment
I am.
with me. You know what I'm saying? And we're having an exchange of conversation, and that's something that's important to capture for people to know because this can resonate with somebody else and inspire them to do other things as well. So
That I like how you summarize that. So griot is very important, and so you do that really around children, or you do this at an act. What kind of activities would need a griot? A
uh,
griot.
I don't know. I guess any place where people who breathe oxygen that would be
That's
important.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Anybody breathing oxygen. Yeah, we need that. We need the story.
yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
if you look at the way the world has been moving lately, And by
Yes.
lately, I mean ever since the middle passage into my alpha happened, the integrity of truth and how that
Mm.
is exchanged is extremely vital because it determines the outcome of your quality of life, and your quality of understanding. So, there's so much greatness within ourselves,
Mhm.
Um, if you're taught that that doesn't exist, it's foreign to you, even though your body knows. So I like to call it your ancestral database. There are things that I do sometimes that can be related to ancient practices from the continent, and I had no idea I was doing them. The correlation. My mind just told me to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? Or like my instincts, and I just say
Mhm.
that's your ancestral database tapping in and letting you know, hey, you should. This is something that should be happening. And I'm like, oh, and it's a conversation that you don't realize you're having until you're
Wow.
actually doing the thing. Sometimes, you know what I mean? So
Wow. Yeah, I like the ancestral database.
yeah. Oh, yeah, cite your
Yeah.
sources, yo. I ain't heard nobody else say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that. Listen, guys, if you listen on Facebook, please transition to YouTube at Black Box Radio. So we're gonna leave Facebook. So please transition to YouTube. Wow, I like that ancestral database, man. That's a good way to put it. Good way to put it. Good way to put it.
And
So
it's sad
so
to put a new thing too when you got people saying tapped in. You know what I'm saying? If you're tapped in and you're in alignment, that database is gonna hit you up more often than not.
that is so true. So as an artist, because
Mm.
usually like in our times, whenever artists speak, it's usually do their art. And it's
Yeah.
very important. We have songs that's documented history. We have paintings that's documented history. We're in a historic moment in this country. There's things happening in this country that maybe we thought we would never see, or we thought would never happen. Um, what, as an artist, how do you express in the times that we're in now?
Hmm. I would say with words and actions, right? So I think that this is my fourth chapter of life, right? So I've been here for at least 4 decades. I consider each 10 years a chapter.
Okay.
So I've been here for 4 chapters, right? So they become reruns if you're paying attention. So
Ooh.
as crazy as 47 is as a president to people, he was crazy as 45. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
And I think
you
that
better
sometimes
know
I think sometimes, and he's not the end all be all to systemic oppression by any means.
it by any
Um,
means.
he's an
Absolutely.
extension. He is
Mhm.
a mascot for it, no question, right?
He's the
And
manifest version of it. Yes.
right, and some people get amped up and get permission by his presence to do certain things out loud that they may have done quietly. But
Mm.
those things have always been an occurrence and they've always been a rotation, right? So when we think about certain unjust practices and certain rollouts, like we're getting the light version of this. You know,
Mm.
I'm not Stephen Biko right now. I'm not Medgar Evers right now. Are there still harsh things going on? Absolutely. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
these are just reincarnations of the same things. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
they have slightly different spins because they have the signatures of the people who are present right now. But
Wow.
at the end of the day, are you doing the work? And what does that look like? Whatever you can do that you feel will uplift your community within your capacity. That's my take on that. So for me doing the work is when they say charity starts at home, I'm a big fan of that. So like, what am I doing for my son and my daughter? What am I
Hmm.
doing for people that I consider family? And what am I doing for people that I don't consider family? Like, what does that look like? You know?
Yeah.
So
Humanity. Yes.
yeah, and what do I really feel I have the capacity to do? And if I feel I have the capacity to do it and I'm not doing it, why? If I feel I have the capacity to do it and I am doing it, okay. Well, what does that consistency look like and how is that benefiting me and how is that benefiting everybody else? Because at the end of the day, I remember LL Cool J said something real dope. He said, and it was just talking towards like filling your own cup. He didn't say it that way, but he did use the analogy of when a plane is in a crisis and that
Yeah.
airbag stop with the mask, who's supposed to put the mask on first?
You.
Right? So if you don't take care of yourself first, you're already limiting and in your capacity to help others. So you have to really figure out what that looks like for you. And it looks different for some people, as long as you're being your authentic self while you're doing it, I think that's important. But then also what do you need to unlearn to really unlock what your authentic self is supposed to be? Because those are things too. So
Oh, so a lot to consider
it is, but
and
fortunately,
to express. Yeah.
yeah, if you're a sound body and mind, inshallah, you have a long time to think about it. You know what I'm saying? So like
Mm.
it's finite, but you have more time than you realize to process it and really function and make that up. Like Toby and Wigway, a dope MC I like from the South by way of Nigeria.
Yep.
He says, even if, and I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, even if you're Obama or even if you're a square or, uh, you have time to change your decisions. So if you're somebody who's not on code, you can get on code. Like it's not too
Wow.
late to do that. You know, that was
Yeah.
what I heard when he said that.
Well, I
So
like that. And do we have the patience for them to get on code?
I mean,
And
well,
you
that's an individual choice. So us having
know,
for someone else getting on code is irrelevant. If they're on code, they're just gonna do that.
mm,
They don't need our opinion to do that. That's a self-affirming exercise.
that you need to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm. Wow, wow, deep, 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 deep. All right. So expression has many layers. It's not one way.
Of
I'm
course.
hearing I'm hearing from you because you are multi-layered with a lot of expressions per se of art. So as a family man, being a full-time artist, do you include your family? And because I heard you talk about your daughter and your
Oh
son,
yeah,
because I started modeling as a family. That's how I first saw you. Fun
yeah,
fact is you were modeling in a fashion show, and the whole family, your wife, your son, and your daughter. I said, "Wow, this is different." And
yeah.
so
What's that? Inside Creations. Was that original F. Lewis?
I think that was a Marjorie.
Yeah, Marjorie. Yeah, Inside
Yeah,
Creations. I did something with them
Marjorie.
at the original F. Lewis, but we also did something at what was that? It was in the city. I cannot remember the name.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was like a rec center.
yeah, it was like a rec center or like a high
Yeah,
school, elementary
that's where I saw
school.
you. Oh, I think we was
Yeah,
on the west side,
it was on the west side. I cannot remember the name of the location, but yeah, like
right off of
yeah,
Park.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very protective of my children. So the fact that I love Marjorie so much, I allow them to be in the fashion show says a lot. So if you notice
Mm,
my social media pages, you don't see pictures of my
yeah,
son or my daughter. But if we're close, you can see pictures of them. You see them. You don't even need pictures. You see them all day. So, um, but yeah, I think that's important. That's that's fun. I used to be a model too, but the
mhm,
level of vanity in modeling just didn't resonate with me. And I saw how other people were treated and like how it provided an unhealthy level of anxiety uh,
mm,
and materialism and how they felt about themselves. And I didn't like that. And how you kind of wanted to be in a position to be chosen, which is
mm,
also ironically why I enjoyed music and setting my own schedule with music than I did with theater. Because with theater and film, you have to audition, and if you don't get chosen, it doesn't mean you're not good. It just means you're not what
mm.
they're looking for, right?
Right, right,
Yeah, and
right.
sometimes in some fields, mentally you feel like, oh, I'm not good. I'm not good enough or whatever. Like it's not.
Yeah.
What it is that these casting directors have a certain idea that they have in their mind of what is going to work for this
Mm,
particular film, or whatever, at this point it's on Netflix or series or what have you.
yeah.
So yeah, so that's a big thing. I think
Yeah.
one of the things I remember Port MC, uh, native brother from Baltimore. He lives in Philly now with his family out there. But I remember he asked me something. He was like, "Yo, would you ever cut your locks for a film?" And I was like, and at that time, I said, it depends on how important the film is. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Wow.
if I could grow I said, I can grow my hair back. I said, but I can't grow back is my integrity. Right. So,
Mm,
yeah. So, and if I'm choosing to cut my locks, that's different. If they're telling me to cut my locks, that's different too. Then in that case, the answer is no. But if I'm doing a role and I feel I need to do it, that's different. So when I did some of those first roles I did, and I was playing an enslaved African or something like that. Actually, specifically, my first role, I wasn't an enslaved African. I was considered an African Creole, who was
Mm,
somebody who came on their free will to help with agriculture in Dutch New Amsterdam, which is now known as Manhattan. So they would actually help with the farming and agriculture and certain architectural things. And those people who were African Creoles, they spoke multiple languages, and English
mm,
just happened to be one of them. You know what I mean? So for that, I had twists. I didn't have locks just yet. So what I
okay.
did, I literally just when I knew I was going to get that role, I just let all this grow in. I didn't shape it up. I grew my hair out. I let that get real crazy, and I was really locked into that character, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why people kept hitting me up trying to get me work. They're like, you were really good at this. Keep doing that. And I'm like, no, I want to do, I want to act, and I want to have range with that. So, but
Yeah.
music is something where I think me being on stage was a great compromise of sorts, where I could be like, I still have the stage presence that I worked on for theater, but I'm making my own schedule, and I happen to be a writer, so it works. It works out.
Wow. So what do you like most? So you can rap,
Mhm,
you can write,
mhm.
So what do you poet? What do if someone said put you in a room and said, listen, this is what I want you to do, what you like the most, and when you come out of that, I'm gonna hit you off with some racks. What would be that?
Mm. Um, well, I
Out of
love doing
all
all
the things you do, out of
the pick
everything you
pick one thing.
one thing that's my jam right there. That's my start. That's my
That's a
jam.
tough thing because like I like a lot of
Wow.
jams. You feel me? So like
Wow.
I like strawberry jam, grape jam, marmalade jam,
I
cardamom jam. You know what I'm saying? Teddy's last
need
jam.
you to get I like
Jam or
I know.
jam, Teddy jam for me. All them joints.
Mm, mm,
All of
mm, mm.
them.
You like all the jams.
Dun, dun,
Yeah, you know.
dun, dun, dun. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the move. But New Jack Swing, we could talk about that that could be a whole
Well,
nother
you brought
swing.
it out just now. New
The
Jack
truth
Swing was
about a Roni though,
what?
yo, they put their
The
ankles in them
truth
drums, yo.
about a Roni is so. Oh my goodness, you bringing
Yeah,
up
my
memories.
bad,
What
my
you
bad.
like? What
All
you
right,
like?
Bobby, what I like. So I would say songwriting because that gives me a wide berth, right? So I could do, and that won't limit the fun of me creating, because songwriting, I can do spoken word. That's songwriting. I could beatbox and add some nuance to it. That's still songwriting. I could sing. That's still songwriting. So all of those things are included. So
Got it. So you touching everything with that one. Okay.
yeah.
Well, well, you know what? We got to talk about what's going on in art, like nationwide. K. Dot, Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Let's talk about it. You're an artist. His impact is real. Like you can't you can't rate influence. Hey. So he's actually doing he's stamping through, he's smashing everything, he's smashing all of the records. He got everybody singing his lyrics. He
Yeah.
has definitely he's past viral. He is he's solidified himself in greatness right here.
Yeah.
Icon shit.
I would say,
What you
I
think?
would say past viral is a great use of the word. I would say he's more tincture than viral.
Yeah, he's icon shit.
Yeah,
Tincture.
he's tincture, right? Because a tincture is something that heals. It's a supplement to support, right? Viral, if you don't want to be a virus because you spread and it doesn't sustain, it kills, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely love that.
to me, he has more aspects of a tincture than a virus to me. Um,
So what do
but
you
yeah,
think about the range? What he's doing?
what I think about what now? Ask me
The
again.
range, what he's doing, he got everybody talking, from the Super Bowl show to, of course the disc joint. And then now it's a regular it's a regular song. Like
Yeah,
everybody love it. How you
yeah,
take a disc joint and make it
yo,
a tongue beater.
I think you know, I think some of the older hip hop purists might get mad at me for saying this, but I've never seen a battle like this before. And if they get mad at me, they shouldn't because they haven't seen a battle like this before either. I've never seen somebody create the level of discourse to the point where you create a concert from the diss. So the pop out. And then you put on primarily, and by put on, you only, from what I don't know how true this is, but I heard that his primary focus for patrons were people that lived in California, specifically in Los Angeles. So if you didn't live in Los Angeles, they might have refunded your money so that people from Los Angeles could afford to get in. Like, so I like to me, that's when people say putting on for their city, I can't see that's a really big way of doing that, right? When he was at the Super Bowl, all of those dancers, the majority of them were from LA. You know what I mean? So like what he's doing for when you think about, I don't like the term subculture because when you think sub is like below, right?
Yeah. Right.
So when you're talking about a portion of the greater culture of California that he is representing, he's doing it in such a very intentional way. And I don't know his mother personally, but I appreciate what he's choosing to share with us. I really appreciate. Like I've had an opportunity to see him in Section 80, then see him in Good Kid, Mad City, then see him in The Pimp a Butterfly, then see glimpses of him in Damn, see glimpses of him in Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and now see glimpses of him in GNX. Like he's a really, and I may have, then he had an Untitled project as well. I've had glimpses and an opportunity to see him in a myriad of different ways because each one of those projects is something different.
Wow.
When you think about Good Kid, Mad City, like Good Kid, Mad City and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers are more similar than some people would give it credit for because they were like audio plays. They were like theatrical productions, whereas Good Kid, Mad City was a play that expressed life in LA, right? Whereas Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers was a play that experienced the life of a man, a specific man, right? Or a specific type of man, or, and dealing with life challenges and triumphs, right? And then aspects of his lineage on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, because he was talking about his mother, he's talking about his aunt, talking about his uncle, talking about his father, but they were all extensions of his lens of how he saw these people. I think Damn was kind of like actually no, The Pimp a Butterfly was more along the lines of talking about how the world is kind of let's look at this planet. What are we doing? All right, a lot of stuff is going on. We're gonna be all right. We got the evils of Lucy. When I learned that the evils of Lucy was Lucifer, I was like, yo, this dude's a genius, right? And then I know there's some people that are learning that just now as I said it. You know what I mean? And no judgment. You know what I mean? Because they might have been thinking about I love Lucy. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But the evils of Lucy are absolutely all around us. So and they're very ever present. And the thing about how evil manifests itself, evil has clothing. Evil has the clothing of people who aren't evil.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Everybody can wear the same outfit, but everybody don't smell the same. Everybody don't move the same. And everything don't lay the same on your body if you're evil or if you're not. You know what I mean? So, and also there's a little bit of evil in everybody. It's how you choose to align yourself. No one is above the ability to be vile. And I gotta give credit to Mr. Baldwin for that, because when people are like, I can never possibly do, you actually could. You're just choosing not to. You know what I'm saying? Like, it might be your upbringing, it might be your moral compass, it might be you too afraid to go down that road and let those evils really seep in and sizzle in your spirit, so to speak.
But you can. You're saying you have the ability. Wow.
Yeah, everybody does, but everybody has the ability for greatness. Everybody has the ability for magnificent benevolence. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody is above that opportunity.
Nobody's above the opportunity. Like
Uh-huh.
whoa. Like
Yeah.
when you look at that, then you see equity. They're talking. We're talking about DEI, all of this, but we all have the ability to be great. So why do we hamper anybody else? Just function in yours. Function in yours. Yeah, and believe. If you believe in yours, you ain't got to hold nobody else's back.
Yeah, and it's a
You know what I'm saying?
I do. It's a very interesting perspective to hold, because sometimes it's hard for people to have the hands for that.
If you really think of it, what we see in society, it has to be some people who really don't believe in themselves. It has to be some fear-based people, because the amount of time that we take to hamper and suppress and oppress and take away and control, if we let it be free and let everybody work at their own space and what they can do, and it all be great, why are we fighting here? We spend a
Right.
lot of time in foolishness, and we could do so much together on this planet. I think. You
Yeah,
know.
I would agree with you. I think it's my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm done.
No, I think it's just really disappointing. So like back to what you said initially, when you see these reruns, you realize like, yo, I had a really good conversation, actually several good conversations with a couple of friends, and I literally, without saying it, I said it. I was like, yo, when you look at how this world is right now, and you're like, oh, can I curse on this? Is that all right?
Yeah, do whatever you want to, bro.
I'm like, is this it? Like, this what success all about? Like, this is what the fuck? This is what we're doing? Like,
Yeah, this is what
we
we
have
do.
we have an opportunity to communicate on Jupiter if we wanted to, but instead, I'm concerned about, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're supposed to be the smartest version of life on this planet,
Yep.
but we're the only version decimating the ecosystem.
Ooh.
Yours ain't decimating the ecosystem. The fam ain't eating cheddar biscuits. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we? Cheddar biscuits. Why are we eating cheese? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things. Like
Wow.
cheese and fossil fuels. We literally don't need those. But anytime somebody comes up with an alternative, they die. Like, there've been so many people who have come up with engines that don't require fossil fuels, and all of them are no longer alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like avarice. I'm going to be an author too, so we should probably add that. So
Let's go.
avarice is I put this in my book. I said avarice is the heroin of humanity. Because people be leaning on greed, yo. Like they be looking
Eating it
like
up.
the West Side or the East Side in the '80s.
Yeah. There
They,
you go.
they be looking like Bennett Road in the '80s. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? So like I'm not limiting
Yeah.
it to Baltimore. They looking like the South Side of Chicago in the '80s. You know what I mean? Like
What? Real
when
talk.
when the government, and that's another thing, when the government or whatever powers that be allow these drugs and harmful elements to get into these cities, there is nobody in the city of Baltimore who is a gunsmith. And I'm looking right in the lens of the camera. There is nobody in the city of Baltimore who creates a poppy field. Nobody.
Wow.
Nobody in Baltimore is a chemist who created fentanyl. We didn't do that.
Didn't do it.
You know what I'm
It's coming
saying?
from somewhere. Coming from
So
somewhere.
so what I'm saying is, when we're talking about the ability to literally have one of the most optimal existences on this planet,
Yes.
we're creating ways that just enable and foster and intentionally populate and multiply greed and avarice and individualism, and I don't like speaking in absolute. So there are many systems that help to influence that and help to perpetuate it, because
Yep.
everybody doesn't think like that, even if we are victims of it and we're in the framework of what it is. So it's just, it's a little annoying. Actually, it's a lot annoying, actually. um, and it's very effective and it's very efficient. I think I don't want to misquote. I was actually building with some amazing brothers um, in an initiative that I'm a part of, the Baltimore Rites of Passage Initiative. Um, and Kwame Nkrumah said, "They're not smarter than us. They're not stronger than us, but they are more organized than we are."
Wow.
And it's not to say that there aren't groups of us who are organized, because there are. I'm never someone to say we aren't organized. What I will say is that we aren't organized enough.
That's true.
Because they're definitely, because like for me to say that, oh, we're not on the same page, black people don't agree with nothing, I was like, that's false. We definitely agree. Like many of us agree with a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a matter of not feeling the ego to reinvent the wheel sometimes, because there's certain things we agree upon that's actively happening in your
Mhm.
city and community, and you have no idea. Like, because I move in so many different spheres, and I've always done that from a younger age. When I meet certain people, and they don't meet me as a musician, like I also did sports medicine. I did strength and conditioning. I was an athletic trainer. So
Mhm.
when I meet people in that field and I say, hey, what y'all doing tonight? They're like, oh, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna go to the bar, blah, blah, blah. And I say, you should go to this live joint. Well, I'm dating myself. But I was like, yo, you should go to 347. It's on, it's on Calvert Street, whatever, whatever. And they'll be like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, it's live music. And they're like, they got live music in Baltimore? And I was like, yeah. And let me tell you about some events. So in the late 90s, early 2000s, Baltimore's still popping now, but now that I'm in a different age bracket, and I have family and I'm at home more. I don't know what's going on every night, but I remember at one point when I was hitting up like 100, 200 venues, repetitive, not different ones, but like I was going out to open mics and performing and featuring like 150, 200 times a year. Um, you know,
Wow.
and Monday through Friday, what was it? Monday they had Verbatim Mondays hosted by Rebecca Dupas. Tuesday they had Organic Soul Tuesdays. Olu E was there. J Soul was there. James Collins was there. Wednesdays. You know what I'm saying? Thursday, Acoustic Thursdays. Friday, Beefy Fridays. We had events on Saturdays and Sundays. We had Salam Sundays with my man Kareem and Naima at one point. There's always something.
Always.
Even Larry Lancaster, amazing. He hosts some amazing music on WEAA in the morning, but he also was hosting
Yeah.
comedy events and venues throughout the city. He was doing it on Wednesdays, then he was doing it on Thursdays. The Haven had some dope events going on Tuesdays and
Wow,
Thursdays.
the Haven. Wow, wow.
You know what I
You
mean?
you bringing it up, bro. You bringing
Yeah,
up
there was
some of these spots ain't open no more.
nah
Um,
like the Haven, that whole strip doesn't even exist
that doesn't
after.
even exist the way that it was. It's a whole new strip now, and that's
Yeah,
history is gone.
that's crazy,
Um,
and that's what makes talking about it so important. That's
there
that's
you
what
go.
makes Griot so important, right?
That's
So,
what makes it so important. And in Baltimore, you segue into something. If anyone doesn't know, Baltimore has so much culture, so
and we
much,
still do. Yes, I'm
and
glad you said had. We still do. Yep.
we still do. We have an amazing culture in this city, and it's continue to be manifested in so many different ways. And now it's breaking down to different generations that's coming out to contribute to the culture. So being in Baltimore, you get very rich in the culture.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? What can you say about the art in Baltimore? It's big.
The art. Here's my thing:
Big.
the authenticity of this city.
Yes.
I've been to so many different places in America. Um, but there are 50 states, and I've been out of 50 states. I've probably been to about 35 or 37 of those states.
Whoa.
And I probably say Baltimore and New Orleans are the most authentic cities that I've seen.
Mhm.
Philly's a close. Philly's close. Philly's back there. I mean, it was up there.
Mhm.
Um, but just the resonant energy and frequency when I step in those two places specifically have hit me like no other. And that's
They're
me saying
alike in a lot of ways too. Yeah, they are.
that,
Yeah.
and especially like me being born in DC, it says a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because even how gentrification is tried to hit Baltimore, it don't hit the same. Like there's a level of rebellious spirit, like nah, like, but it's still kind of crazy, right? Because you could be on a 4 square block, and on the left side, it's like $600,000 houses, and then on the right side, it's abandoned buildings, and then on the other side, I'm like, what is it? How is that?
It's a family community. It's crazy.
Right, right. It's a co-op. Like how we like what just happened? And then
The,
and,
and
and
do
then
his
the other
own flavor. And the other side is something else.
right, it's
Baltimore.
like, and then it's Madison Correctional Facility. I'm like, how did you do all? It's the same block. Like it's the same.
How did
It's
you
the same
how'd you
block.
how'd you get all that done? But
How
that's
did you
how
do that?
Baltimore is. You said it all in one sentence. Baltimore has so much going on, but it all fits. And we're
Yeah.
used to it. Like, you're like, dang, okay. That's what y'all doing now. It's all
So,
good.
so I'll say this. So
Go ahead.
when I performed in Philly,
All right.
crazy love in Philly. When I performed in New York, crazy love in New York. When I perform in Baltimore, like the level of authenticity of how they feel about your work. If it's good, if it's not, you don't know that too. But if it's
You
good, they be
gonna
like,
know.
yo. And then
You
I love when
gonna
they say some stuff, yo, you should be on TV, bro. Like you should do blah, 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 you know. But when I remember I did a show, I was with Joy Carter and Levi Stevens, like two amazing vocalists, amazing songwriters. Levi Stevens is an amazing guitar player. So I'm beatboxing and doing background vocals for these two phenomenal singers. And then I do it and I hop in and do my little rap, you know what I'm saying, him with the whoop de wop, you know what I mean? And then we're performing in DC.
Mm.
When I tell you the only way these brunch food goers would have given a damn about us being there as if we was jumping through flaming hoops of boiling hot magma. And I'm like, yo, we are straight kill, like we are
Damn.
eviscerating the stage, yo. Like it's a good thing I know when we're doing a good job because like we was
Yeah.
crushing, but they was just drinking their martinis or the Bellinis. They was drinking Bellinis, eating that crab meat, whatever. You know what I'm saying? The Tony and Joe's,
They weren't
whatever.
messing with y'all. Wasn't messing
Yeah,
with y'all.
he was just like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. We see, yeah, that's nice. The beatboxing with the guitar, that's great. I'm like, yo. But if I did that the same, if we did the same set in Baltimore,
Oh, please.
at the end of the set, they'd be like, yo. And then the funny thing is, they'd be like, yo, I got a birthday party. Can you do this in my birthday party? You know what I'm saying? Like all of that. And
All in one spot.
yeah,
Baltimore. Baltimore different, baby. I'm telling you. Baltimore
right.
is a different
In
spot.
Philly, if I did it in Philly, would be like,
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool. That's
they
good.
be like, yeah, boy, I know, I got a cousin who do what you do, yo. You know what I'm saying? You link up with him. And I'm like, all right, I don't know who he is, but okay, maybe. I don't know how that works.
Every place is different, man. Every place is
Yeah,
different. But
I love
I love Baltimore. I love how Baltimore reacts to stuff, or how and it's very authentic, and they don't play
yeah.
with you. You either good
No,
or you
authentic.
bad.
Yeah, authentic is the best. It's the best word for it. And it just, dude, when I left, yeah, when I left college, I just stayed here. I was like, I don't need to go. And I think, yeah, I think I'm good here. Yeah, I
Yeah,
really love it
raw.
here. Whoa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dope.
it's raw and there's a level of refinement too, and just a level of
Yes.
awareness of knowing, like people here know who they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
you can't just get in. You
yeah,
gotta be in the community. They gotta feel you a little. You
yeah,
know, yeah, you gotta come in with some. You gotta be heavy on something. Heavy
yeah,
on the mustard or heavy on tomato. You better be heavy on something. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Don't
yeah,
come in
yeah.
all light because they coming for you. So I love
Yeah,
Baltimore. I love Baltimore, and I love that you're an artist. I just thought that was so integral that you be a part of the series of
I
8,
appreciate it.
because it's every level matters. Every level matters, and if we don't have art, what we have, that's that oxygen we need. When you
Absolutely.
finish working, you need art.
Yeah.
When you take it hard, you need some art. Music. You need something.
Not
You
even when you
know,
finish, when you're working,
when
when
you're working.
you need an inspiration to work. And I
That's right.
think what I tell people when I work with them all the time, everybody has an art to what they do.
Mm.
So you're an artist even if you don't realize you're an artist. If you're a teacher, you're an artist. If you're a podcast host, you're an artist. If you're a
Wow.
mechanic, you're an artist. If you're a surgeon, you're an artist. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Like there's an art.
Creativity.
Yeah, and the thing
Yeah.
is, art form in some cases in many cases is an opinion. Your techniques have guidelines, right? So
Ooh.
how do you apply your art? And I can't even take credit for that. My good friend, my mentor of sorts, Substantial, amazing songwriter, producer, uh,
Ooh.
administrator, business-minded gentleman. Yeah, he taught me that he got it in one of his raps. He said, "Art form is opinion. Only techniques have guidelines." And that's facts. Like think about it, right? Because the
Right.
quality of art, the quality of what art is so relative, which is why you can be delusional and think Drake won that battle.
Ooh.
He didn't.
He didn't.
You know what I'm saying?
He
Now,
did.
but you could also be delusional and feel he didn't have at least one good of the battle because he had some good lines in some of them battle songs.
Yeah.
But Kendrick just countered them joints. You feel me? Like when he did, what was it? When he did Family Matters, and I heard Family Matters, and he had the whole van from Good Kid, Mad City and Effigy on the video. I sat and watched that joint, and I was like, okay, Drake,
Getting personal.
you might be on this. And then an hour later, Meet the Grams came out, and I said, that's a counterpunch. That was a counterpunch.
Too much of a punch. That was a counter killer.
Yo.
Counterpunch is different. That's a counter killer.
And he wasn't done with Meet the Grams. Because I ain't gonna, so like I said, I'm Caribbean and Latino. So when he did Meet the Grams and he was talking about the illegitimate child, if that's true, the battle is over. Because now we're fighting. So now, like, because I'm like, hey, bro,
we gotta fight,
bro. Nobody knew about this child, fam. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing?
He outed everything. He didn't care.
Yeah, because now we digital now. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Because back in the day, you could easily get away with having a whole another family. But I can't do that now.
When we gonna meet up?
You know what I'm saying? Right. When we gonna meet up, yo? Because we gonna run this fade.
Give me your information.
Right. And the rhyming is over. We're good. We're good.
It's time to fight.
Right. We're good here. And you know what? We're not making it public. I'm fighting you in private. We're good here.
I think Drake should have did that earlier, going to court and making himself and pouting. What's the worst move? Worst move, bro.
Yeah, I thought it was the best. I thought it was great. Like,
take it on the chin, bro. Take it on the chin.
It's so awesome when you show who you really are.
Ooh.
Just show who you are. That's what he's doing. And now, and the people who think that was a good idea, because I heard the excuses, they were like, yo, he's gonna change like how these streaming platforms underpay artists and blah. I was like, sir.
Stop, it's not happening. This is so baked in. Yeah.
Drake is not doing that. And let's not act like that's the reason he's doing it.
No.
He's doing it because the algorithms aren't in his favor right now. They've been in his favor for over a decade. And now that they've been flipped, getting himself in a position where he feels he has the agency, they're like, no, little black white man, you don't. Because you're also still black. So nope, you don't. Sorry.
He dropped the album, I think yesterday or the day before. For Drake.
Yo, but here's the funny thing. I'm gonna be very careful on how I say this, but I did a professional development in DC, and I was with some amazing educators on Friday. It was on Valentine's on Friday, and that's how I knew the album dropped. I think it dropped like midnight the night before, or like
something like that. Yeah,
I wouldn't even have known about it. So they were like, my bad. That wasn't a dig. I just didn't know. So it wasn't. It kind of was, but it wasn't. It wasn't intentional. So, but that's how. But honestly, sidebar. That's how I keep abreast of what's going on because I'm still working in schools. So the children keep me young. You know what I mean? Because I get a chance to find out what's going on, and I can hear it from the lens of them. Because my lens is different now. Because I have a level of wisdom, a level of understanding, and it's not a knock, but I have. Like they are 10 and 11. So I'm 11 3 times. I've been an adult. Excuse me. I've been an adult for over 20 years. I'm an adult. You feel me? Like we're adult. I'm an adult. I'm not assuming how old you or how young you are, but I'm an adult.
I'm an adult too. We adult.
Like we're adults out here. You know what I mean? I just have a beautiful ability to tap into my youthful side. So I talk to my 6-year-old self. I talk to my 8-year-old self. I think it's so important that we talk to fortify, love, and support our younger selves, in and without, right? So I love and support the younger selves that I see in myself, but I also support the younger selves that I don't see in these children because they're not me. Even though I see parts of them that look like me, I try to speak to love and light of the parts of them that I don't see look like me either, because I'm not that. I try not to be that selfish, right? So, and I think that's important too. So. Yeah, so anyway, one of the young ladies said, she said, oh, he's rapping for the pretty girls again. And I said, is he now? And I said, oh, is that a fact? I said, so you still rock him even though he kind of pooped on y'all for a couple of years. Like you're okay with that? And she said, I mean, I don't know him and blah, blah, blah. I was like, true, you don't, but you know what he raps about. And I said, but I'm not judging. I said, I said, do you feel he won the battle? She said, absolutely not. I said, okay, we can continue talking. And I said, all right, so let's go and get this professional development going. You know what I mean? And then we started talking about what we was talking about. But I love to hear different perspectives on what people see because it lets me know where they are, So I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
when certain people like say what they, and I think what's so crazy, there are several people on social media that like I respect their minds, right? And
Mhm.
then when I hear them talk about Drake and Kendrick in a certain way, there's a level of delusion that I see, and I'm like, it doesn't make me judge them. It really makes me go inward, and I'm like,
Mhm.
am I that delusional about certain things? Because
Mm.
if I want to work on that. You know what I mean? I want to figure out what I'm delusional about.
Well,
Yeah,
we contort ourselves to make us believe what we feel. See, when you're
yeah,
working in your emotions, you contort yourself to make it make sense.
yeah,
And
right. And I
yeah,
think
gotta be
that,
careful.
and here's the thing: we're always learning, so it's very. You have to be very careful. I think it is important to be very careful and mindful of the fact that systemic oppression puts us in a condition to be manufactured.
Mm.
All of us, because many of us are working within that framework. So, and I'll say it again:
Say that
systemic
again.
the systemic oppression puts us all in a position to be manufactured. I just made that up just now,
Mm.
but it's a summation of me paying attention to systemic oppression. And I'll be very specific because you'll rarely hear me say the word white supremacy because there's nothing supreme about what they're doing.
Mm.
But it is oppressive and it is a system. So I'll say systemic oppression, right? Um, but just for the sake of conversation, if somebody's saying it, I'm not going to try to correct them or anything like that because I'm not about correction. I'm about alignment, right? So that kind of makes sense. But and if I know
So
what they're trying to
systemic
say,
oppression puts us in a place to be manufactured.
yes. So when I'm looking and listening to some of these children in the fifth and the sixth and the seventh grade, and some of them are having issues with spelling words, and some of them are having issues with writing words, and some of them are having issues with summarizing a statement that I just said.
Hmm.
That comes from relying on mobile devices. That comes from
Mm.
outsourcing work that your brain is supposed to do,
Mm.
right? So when you and I were younger, because we're adults, when you and I were younger, depending on our parents, if we asked a question about a word, they would say, look it up. And you would go to a dictionary and look it up. You didn't have auto spelling. So if you didn't know how to spell it, you would go through several pages of the dictionary until you sounded it out and figured out the different ways to spell the word that would be
Mm.
close to correct. And then you'd find the word. But you'd
Yeah,
also find definitions of other words while you were there.
exactly. In many
You know,
ways, you use it. Yes.
so you're on a subconscious level, on an indirect level, you're absolutely learning and broadening your vocabulary just by looking up one word that you didn't know the meaning to, as frustrated as you were, right?
Right.
Now,
Right.
if I tell my child to look it up, they could go to their computer or their phone or their tablet or whatever and say, Siri, what does such and such mean? They don't know what it's spelled. They don't know how to spell it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like if I ask you right now to give me 4 numbers that you remember by heart in the 90s, you could do it. If I were to ask a fifth grader to give me their mother's home phone number or their grandmother's home phone number, how many of them do you think would actually know how to do that?
Wow.
Or give me your mother's home phone number, your father's home phone number, and your uncle's home phone number. You know what I'm saying? Or just give me 5 people's home phone number. I still remember my home phone number. I remember my home phone number, my grandmother's home phone number, my father's home phone number, I didn't live with my sister's cell phone, my best friend who lived up the street, Tommy.
Yeah, it's like we were programmed to know that stuff.
Yeah,
It's hard for me now, but definitely we had to know numbers. We had
yeah,
nothing to go and look it up and nothing in our hands. So we
yeah.
worked our brains. So I know the brain has capability. We're just not using it. We're not letting our kids use theirs. Yeah.
Somebody said it. I think it might have been Jim Quick. Might have been Jim Quick. He said, I think he used the term digital dementia.
Mm.
Such a powerful tool, such a powerful word. Because
Woo.
you're outsourcing your muscle. Like your brain is organic matter. It's a computer, but it's also a muscle. It's an organic muscle. You know what I mean? It's a computer.
Wow,
So you
that's a lot.
yeah, you if you don't use
Digital
you
intervention.
don't, you don't use it, you lose it.
It
Like
is. It
real
is
talk.
true. We see it in real time.
Yeah.
Real time.
And
Wow.
you
Digital
see us
intervention.
doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like we have such a high capacity for brilliance. Like everybody has capacity. Every individual person has capacity for brilliance in some
Mm,
way, shape, or form. In multiple ways, actually, I think.
in multiple ways.
Um, and if you're on your phone and you're getting that, you're getting that hit, you have trouble sleeping. There are people like insomnia is crazy right now because every time, actually, funny enough, because of this conversation, I purposely didn't put my phone close to me. I don't even know where my phone is because I don't want to look at it.
Wow.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure that I'm locked in with this. Because if I
Yeah,
wasn't,
and that's yeah.
I would absolutely like. I'm just gonna say this is my phone. It's not, but I would absolutely be like right down here talking to you and like looking down here and then looking back up. And I'm like, let
Yeah,
me go ahead.
that's what we
Let me go
do.
ahead, let me go ahead and send some text. I'm still looking at you though, kinda. All right, you know what I mean?
We live a
It's
whole life of distraction. We don't even know it. That everything we're doing is in a distracted mode. Even, when we're at anywhere, church, whatever, we're distracted doing something else. Uh,
mm-hmm.
And that's social engineering. That's so
It
these
is.
devices can stay out, and that's so we could stay wanting the next move and wanting to be distracted more, and we're looking for more to do. It's all a game while they do other stuff, while other things are going on in your lives. So be careful, bro. Listen, you've been here for an hour and 16. You have dropped it all. I love it. You are a man of many layers. You're doing a lot in community. You are definitely digging into self and seeing your creativity. It's so dope when a person can, kind of dig into themselves and create their space. That's what you're
Word.
doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's what you
I,
do
I
every
appreciate
day.
and I appreciate you creating this platform. I think that it's very important for us to share these stories with each other and just learn. You know what I mean? I think
Exactly.
learning is such an important thing, but more important than learning is getting the information and then sharing it. Because there's no point in having all this knowledge if you're not sharing it. To me, a proper application of knowledge is wisdom. And we're helping each other learn. So I appreciate you for having this platform for me to speak, for sure.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. And I'm so glad that I could give this space. I see so much light on the other end. I tell you all the time. And so that's why I told you put some light in your face so we can see that light, bro.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
shine up that melanin. So if you want to get
Um,
in touch with this right, Blackroot
Yeah,
01,
Blackroot, you nailed it. Blackroot01 at gmail.com. You can
get
say
in
you
touch with
met
us,
you can
brother.
say you met me on Black Box Radio, and I'll be like, "What up, though?" You feel me?
That's right. And he
So
could be booked. Tell him what you could do, bro. And we're gonna get out of here.
yes, yes, yes. So yeah, you could book me through Blackroot. You could also go to Arts for Learning. Um, yeah, just look up Arts for Learning in Baltimore, and that'll hook you up with some of my assemblies, residencies, workshops. I do professional developments. I host
Mhm.
events. I'm also a keynote speaker. I have a really dope keynote that I've worked on called Breaking Bread. I also have another one called The Mask that deals with the difference between your character traits and emotional states and self affirmation. I have a book coming out. Actually, I have two books coming out this year. One is going to be called Bearded Thoughts:
Mm.
Affirmations, Mantras, and Gray Hairs of Wisdom. So that's going to be a part of a series, and then the next one will be a children's book called Roy G. Biv. It's a character I made out of the color spectrum. So his name is Roy. So it's pretty cool. So
Wow. So listen, check this brother out. You can go to Blackroot and all of those places he said before. You can come back and listen. We're gonna be on YouTube. You can definitely come back and see what this brother do. I got one last thing before we get out of here. Listen, if you have a podcast, you have a talk show, you have a blog, anything, we platform those type of that type of content. And so we could do the backstory. We could set you up so you know exactly what you're doing, tweak your show. If you've been doing this for a long time, that's great. If you just started, that's great too. So give us a holler, shout us out at BlakBoxxRadio at gmail.com. If you have a show or something, this platform is for you. If you're Black and you have something to say, please give us a shout out at BlakBoxxRadio at gmail.com. Listen, we're out of here. We appreciate it. You're supposed to hit us with something before I go. You got to get a freestyle. You're an artist. Come on.
okay, dang. All right.
Drop,
Well, let me see.
bruh.
Blacktastic. Blacktastic is a portmanteau. The word portmanteau was taught to me by my daughter a long time ago. And I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but I do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? But that's how we shine. You know, it's by design we align. You feel me? I write all the time like Optimus Prime. All right, so let me see it. We got you gotta stop messing with me. You crazy, yo. I can't mess with you. But, all right, so I'm gonna say we're blacktastic, way above average. Black boy joy, black girl magic. Magnificent melanin making excellence a habit. Believe you can achieve it, go get it until you have it. Blacktastic, way above average. Black boy joy, black girl magic. Magnificent melanin making excellence a habit. Believe you can achieve it, go get it until you have it. There's magic in your melanin. It's obvious and evident. When dealing with oppression, your complexion be the medicine. We're powerful, intrepid, benevolent, and delicate, strong, amazing, courageous, and intelligent. History is vital, and it's important that we telling it. We're kings, queens, prime ministers, and presidents. We're like earth, wind, and fire, essential like the elements. If you ever have a doubt, I got a word to settle it. Blacktastic.
Wow. Thank you so much. Ah,
Here,
Blacktastic. Be
yes,
Blacktastic. Brother,
yes,
listen, keep
yes,
keep bringing art to our culture. Keep
yes.
creating art. Art is the oxygen that we have to live. And you are the purveyor of it. So we appreciate your space in the
Yes.
community. Keep Baltimore fresh. And
Yeah.
thanks for dropping all that creativity on us tonight. We
Oh,
up
and
out of here. Go
before you
ahead.
go,
Go ahead. Go
so
ahead.
next week, actually, I am a
Mm-hmm.
part of an amazing presentation called Blacktastic, funny enough, right? So we're going to be honoring Baltimore activists and amazing Black heroes in Baltimore. So we're going to be honoring, um, who's the person I'm using? Isaac Myers, born in 1835. They actually has a maritime museum for him down in Fells Point. It's the
Oh,
Frederick Douglass Myers Museum, the Maritime
yeah.
Museum. And Isaac Myers was the first Black man to create a maritime union for Black workers because when the Civil War was over, white people were literally taking thousands of jobs from Black men that worked on the Pratt Street Wharf at the time because it wasn't called the harbor; it's called the Pratt Street Wharf, right? And
Oh.
they were black ship caulkers who helped to seal the seams of ships to make them airtight so they could stay afloat.
Oh.
And he and a couple of other people they crowdfunded saved and got not saved, but they garnered a lot of donations for money to create their own space that they owned for people to come and dock their ships to get them treated and taken care of. Isaac Myers was an amazing, amazing worker. And then Frederick Douglass ended up working um, using like funny enough with the Black jobs, right? So being a Black ship caulker, working as a porter or a carter on the wharf was a very lucrative job for people who looked like us back in that time period in the 1800s. It was one of the best jobs to have,
Really?
financial standpoint. Absolutely.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah. So we're going to be celebrating him. We're going to be celebrating Harriet Tubman. We're going to be celebrating one of Lucille Clifton's daughters. We're going to be honoring and Lucille Clifton. For those who don't know, she's an amazing writer, poet laureate. Just type in Lucille Clifton, and you'll find all you need to find for her.
Wow.
Um,
When is this?
this is going to be next week. So
Next
I'm going
week.
to drop. I want to drop something in the chat. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Give me a quick second. 'Cause I know we got to go, but let me
Okay.
see. I'm going to find a quick link that has the information that we need.
You still singing. Love it. Love it. But yes, guys, come out for sure. If not, hit up his, I'm sure it's on your socials.
Yeah, I put on my socials. Yeah, what I'll
So
do
it's on his
is
socials, his
I'll post it in
IG.
the tag.
His,
Yeah, I'll post it
yeah,
in the tag.
yeah. What's your IG? Black Root?
Yeah, Black Root 1. Black Root
Black
and the
Root.
number 1. Yeah.
Okay. Please hit up his IG and check out this next. So this is on next Saturday. When is it?
No, it's gonna be next week during I want to say it's gonna be 2 days. It's gonna be Tuesday and Wednesday. So one is gonna be
Okay.
for the younger students and the other one's gonna be for the older students. And so far we have about 40,000 students and educators signed up for it already. And it's online. It's all gonna be online. And it's something you can
Oh,
purchase. Oh, matter of fact, I can just post that as Art for Learning. There you go.
yeah. There you go. There you
Yep,
go. Post that. So listen, guys. I want you to check out Black Root. You can check him out on the IG, or you can hit him up at his email, blackroot01@gmail, or
And artsforlearning.org. And it's
learning.org.
yep, right on the page. Hold up. Wait a minute. Boom, right
Arts,
there. I just dropped it. I just sent it to you. So artsforlearningmaryland.org. And literally Blacktastic is the first thing on the landing page.
got it, got it, got it. I will send it, put it in the chat later. Listen, it has been a pleasure talking to you.
Same.
Thanks for all of the art. Thanks for all the information. We really, really appreciate. Yeah, you just and I'm just gonna copy it, guys, and I'm gonna put his information in the chat so it will come up on YouTube and Facebook. Yep. So I just put it up.
All right.
Check out that brother there too. So listen, brother Jamaal, I want to say Ashe to you. Thank you for being a
Hey,
black man in our community. Thanks for carrying the culture. Keep continuing to contribute to the culture, and pass this on to your babies. I love
will do.
this.
Appreciate you.
Let's get them deuces. We out of here.
All right. Peace.
Peace. Have a good night.
Okay, I saw Jameer. Oh, hello.